Commandant will telephone you shortly to congratulate you, missile.
Thank you. I've questioned them about the explosives, but they refuse to answer. The Greek claims that he's not one of them.
Genzi, now you. You are not of this company, you say?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir, I'm not.
You are a liar.
But, Your Excellency...
A liar. Come, that didn't hurt. Where are the explosives?
I don't know, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, I swear to you, I do not know. I am not one of these men. They forced me to join them. As I explained to the captain, I'm just a poor fisherman from Cyprus. My name is Nando Salonikas. I swear to you. These men, they stole my boat. They forced me to join them. Your Excellency.
Bring it in forward.
Your Excellency, I am their prisoner.
Hauptmann Sessler!
Halten Sie Ihren Mund! Where are the explosives? I want an answer now. Otherwise, I shall personally rearrange this officer's splints. Very well. Stehen Sie auf! Stehen Sie auf! Stehen Sie auf, bevor Sie sich verkotzen! Get up! Get up!
I'm sick.
Raus! Raus mit der Tür, bevor die Luft verstinkt!
I'm sick! Please, I'm sick. I'm sick. I'm sick.
Call the sentry in.
Wache!
Now, Oberleutnant, get on the phone. Tell them that you're not to be disturbed until you give further orders. Remember, I speak German. Perfect.
Not very hygienic, I must say. Shocking taste in undies, too. Oh, well. Hi, everybody.
Roy, we're going to leave you here.
I understand.
We're going to let them chase us around for a while. Now, the one thing that they mustn't know is about the landing tomorrow night.
Yeah, of course. Don't worry. No, thanks. Good luck.
Hold it. We're going to leave Major Franklin behind. He's a wounded officer. I expect him to get proper medical attention.
We don't make war on wounded men. We're not all like Hauptmann Sessler.
Joining us now, Jesse Ventura, former wrestler, former governor of Minnesota, former Navy SEAL, the author of Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. That book is now out in paperback. Welcome to have you back, Jesse. There you see the cover of the book.
Good.
How's Obama doing?
Too early to tell, Larry, really. And, you know, in my opinion, George Bush is the worst president in my lifetime.
Have an opinion. Will you? Every time you come here, you
I will.
You man.
And he's the worst president in my lifetime. So President Obama inherited something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. You know, 2 wars, an economy that's a borderline depression. So it's far too early to judge him 100 days in. I think if you have me back about 2 years from now, I can give you a much better of how he's doing.
He poked fun at himself at the White House Correspondents' Dinner Saturday night. Let's watch.
Finally, I believe that my next 100 days will be so successful I will be able to complete them in 72 days. And on the 73rd day, I will rest.
Well, he's very likable.
Oh, yeah.
Admit, right?
Very intelligent, which is a change from our previous president.
All right already with Bush, okay?
No. I live in Mexico now, Larry, so I do a lot of reading. I don't watch much TV, and this year's reading, I covered Bush's life, I covered Guantanamo, and a few other subjects, and I'm very disturbed about it. I'm bothered over Guantanamo because it seems we've created our own Hanoi Hilton.
Yeah.
And we can live with that. I have a problem. I will criticize President Obama on this level. It's a good thing I'm not president, because I would prosecute every person that was involved in that torture. I would prosecute the people that did it. I would prosecute the people that ordered it, because torture is against the law.
And you were a Navy SEAL.
That's right, and I was waterboarded. So I know at SEER school, survival, escape, resistance, evasion, it was a required school you had to go to prior to going into the combat zone, which in my era was Vietnam. All of us had to go there. We were all, in essence, every one of us was waterboarded. It is torture.
Now, what's it like?
It's drowning. It gives you the complete sensation that you are drowning. And it's no good, because I'll put it to you this way. You give me a waterboard Dick Cheney in 1 hour, and I'll have him confess to the Sharon Tate murders.
Even though you know it's not going to happen. Even though before it, you know you're not going to drown. I mean,
you don't know it. If
know?
It's done wrong, you certainly could drown. You could swallow your tongue. You could do a whole bunch of stuff to you if it's done wrong, or it's torture, Larry. It's torture.
Newly released, heavily redacted CIA documents show the Bush administration's torture policies caused 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to lie about where we could find Osama bin Laden. Our third story in the countdown, further evidence that not only were Gitmo detainees abused and tortured, but, surprise, if you torture someone, they may lie to make you stop. The documents obtained by the ACLU came from the questioning of detainees by the U.S. military about their treatment at Gitmo. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was waterboarded, tortured 183 times. I make up stories, just location of Osama bin Laden. He spoke in obviously broken English. Where is he? I don't know. Then he tortured me. Then I said, yes, he's in this area. I said, no, they torture me. Contrast with this, President Bush nearly 3 years ago.
Once in our custody, KSM was questioned by the CIA using these procedures. And he soon provided information that helped us stop another planned attack on the United States.
There is more details of the questioning and torture of other detainees, including Abu Zubaydah, who was then thought to be al-Qaeda's #3 man. He talked about months of suffering and torture, from which he says he has still not recovered. Then his torturers apologized, as if that would make it all go away, telling him, sorry, we discover you are not #3, not a partner, not even a fighter. Jonathan Landay is the senior national security and intelligence correspondent for McClatchy Newspapers, and he joins us once again from Washington. Thank you again for your time tonight, sir.
My pleasure.
Setting aside what would be an increasingly moot debate about the usefulness of torture, for years the Bush administration got away with leaving this impression that we were at least vaguely aware of where Osama bin Laden probably was. Do we know if that assumption was predicated on Khalid Sheikh Mohammed lying in the way he described he's in this area?
I don't think so. Look, the Bush administration has a gleaming record of using bogus and exaggerated intelligence to make cases about al-Qaeda, about Iraq, but I don't think this is the case here. We know that OBL, that Osama bin Laden was at Tora Bora, where he had a major base on the border of Pakistan, and that while he left behind a rear guard, he fled across the border into the tribal areas of Pakistan. So I don't think in this case that they were relying on KSM's information.
The information that came out of people like this, and especially the simple descriptions of what these men would do when faced with torture, given all the revelations of erroneous information and bad leads from people we tortured, is there a point at which the CIA or the government as a whole might have to issue some sort of conclusion that indeed all information that was produced at Guantanamo should be assumed to be useless unless it has been independently verified?
Well, the Obama administration has said publicly that 50 to 100 people who are being held at Guantanamo can either be put on trial or can be let go. And it's safe to assume, I think, that some of those who can't be put on trial can't be put on trial because the information that was obtained in their cases was obtained by what a lot of people call torture. So I think that this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are calling, some people on the Hill and others are calling for the convening of some kind of truth commission, some kind of congressional investigation, official investigation by the Justice Department, special prosecutor, into exactly what was behind the use of these methods and what kind of information they produced.
Meantime, this story, at the end of the week, CIA is going to release the Inspector General's 2004 report, which questioned legality and effectiveness of coercive interrogations. Do we have any idea what we're going to find?
We do know one thing that the report concluded, and that's according to these declassified memos from the Justice Department that refer to a finding in this report that said that based on everything that the CIA IG had seen, there was no firm evidence that anything that was obtained using these aggressive, abusive interrogation techniques had produced evidence or information on an imminent plot threatening the United States. That much we know. But I think there will be other revelations, very, very important revelations, perhaps about the way the CIA IG viewed the entire legal justifications for the use of these aggressive, abusive techniques.
The mind reels. It's like one of those "what's wrong with these pictures," only it's reversed. It's what's right with this picture. Is there anything we can find in it that still is? Jonathan Landay of McClatchy Newspapers, as always, our great thanks.
Interesting. George W. Bush, well, he's staying the course on torture. In a speech in Michigan last night, the former president said again that if he had to do it all over again, he'd still waterboard 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Stephanie, why would George W. Bush not relent whatsoever on torture when obviously there's been a legal ruling in this country not to do it, and the administration obviously has got a different direction? What do you make of the former president speaking up like this?
Well, you know me, Ed. I'm always happy when we have more evidence for the Hague. I'm happy to have him keep talking as much as possible. You know, Ed, I think we all know the truth of the Khalid Sheikh Mohammed waterboarding. We had the information before we waterboarded him how many zillions of times. If it's so effective, Ed, why do you have to do it so many times? And we already had the information before we did it. So, you know, this makes no sense at all to me.
Bill Press, isn't former President Bush kind of breaking one of his own rules of second-guessing the sitting president?
Well, he declined today to criticize Obama on anything, but he did on this torture thing. I've got to agree with Stephanie. I mean, come on. You know, look, first of all, he says he's proud that he committed an illegal act of torture. He's also proud that he took us into an illegal war in Iraq. I mean, he's doing a good job of representing the criminal class. But I'm happy to see George Bush. Every time, Ed, that we get frustrated as liberals with Barack Obama, trot George Bush out again, and then we'll realize how lucky we are.